It's correct.
Oh shoot, I was gonna do a sacrifice before we started. Oh shoot, I was gonna do a sacrifice before we started. Oh shoot, I was gonna do a sacrifice before we started.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, no.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, no.
Hello, hello, hello. There's an echo. There's an echo. There's an echo. There's an echo. What if you delete and then reinstate your microphone again? What if you delete and then reinstate your microphone again? What if you delete and then reinstate your microphone again? What if you delete and then reinstate your...
To try to get it to work earlier. How about now? To try to get it to work earlier. Okay. How about now? Apparently I just have to add that source after we start streaming. Let's just make sure we can still hear everybody else.
Hello.
Let's just make sure we can still
Hello,
everybody else.
it's me.
Hello.
Yeah, okay.
I was wondering.
If after all these weeks you'd like to meet.
We still have an echo. That's the only thing.
I don't know how to get rid of the echo. I don't know where that... It's faint, though. Is that gonna bother anybody too much?
I don't hear an echo, but I'm also
No,
not
it's on the...
watching
I was
It's on
watching
Twitch.
the stream,
Yeah, it's on this stream. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna do this. Okay. I want to play D&D, damn it. That's what captions are for, right? All right. Do y'all remember anything from last time? It was a month ago, so I understand if you don't.
We went from the big to a smaller tunnel. And at the end of that smaller tunnel, there was a big room with a bunch of robots in it.
Yes, I remember this. There was one that was broken, and the little robots, or there was like a Loom Beast,
right,
that was broken, and the little robots were trying to fix it.
Right.
There are Loom Beasts. Those are actual things that are here.
Yep.
Not just fantasy.
Correct. And definitely not randomly made up after a player suggested it.
Nope, they were there all along from the beginning of the adventure.
That's how I remember it. Yeah, let's see here. So, yeah, you ended up in a cavern.
We had to go down a ladder.
You did.
To get to the Loom Beast.
There's
and one of the parts isn't working.
Yeah, there are 3 Loom Beasts, and the one closest to where you entered the cavern doesn't seem to be working. The other 2 seem to be working, and what they seem to be doing is, do you remember what they seemed to be doing?
The little ones?
Mm-hmm. No, the big ones. Do you remember what the two Loom Beasts that were working? Do you remember what they were doing?
Nope.
Great.
My memory has failed me.
They appeared to be weaving something, sort of out of. They appear to be sort of like pulling it out of different holes in the walls, smaller holes, and they're weaving it into something.
I did not pick up on that.
Yeah, I may not have mentioned it. And the smaller robots that are crawling all over them are collecting that and taking it out through other tunnels. And except the smaller robots that are on the Loom Beast that isn't working. So it's sort of like slumped against the wall, and so these little robots are crawling all over it. And they're
fix it.
Yeah, there's a line of them like going to like some of them are going to the other 2 Loom Beasts tiny robot collections, and like they seem to be discussing something and then coming back and trying other things. You were also able to see through some of the so you seem to be in sort of a circular cavern where dozens of hallways are connecting, and you can sometimes see where a hallway it moves, and and you're familiar with the hallways moving from what Jason's told you. And I forget who saw this, but one of you saw Loom Beasts through that opening, actually moving the corridors around and breathing different elements at the corridors, like if one was moving too fast or moving too slow. Do you remember that? Does anybody remember who saw that? I think it was Battle. Yep, okay.
I thought it was me or Yume who saw it.
Yeah, because Winnie was just like trying to like find, what's his name's friends?
Jason's friends. Yeah, you're very
Jason's
concentrated
friends,
on
and was like very like, I need to get them and get out of here so we found the Loom Beast. Let's just get what we need to get and get out.
that. Okay. All right, so that's what y'all remember from last time. What I wrote down for what you learned, Battle's suspicions are entirely validated. There are indeed Loom Beasts. They consume something, and there is a conspiracy. You feel very validated by this new info. Bucket is... I don't know what that word is. The word after it is sentient. It's evolving and changing. Battle is concerned. There is a hesitant friendship between the two of you. Do you remember having like a moment with the bucket in the last session? Yeah. Yume doesn't know much about warfare, but is aware of Aaliyah does better with firm directions and or plans. Aaliyah is confused. You know that Bucket takes commands, but has a weird relationship with Battle. Maybe you were not in a main corridor all along. The Loom Beasts are here. They slow down hallway movements. Loom Beasts seem alive, not just constructs. Aaliyah notices there is no one person leading this group. I believe you found that a little confusing. Or Aaliyah did, rather. Winnie does not care about the looms, just wants everyone to be back with their families and not leaving without anyone. You learned that spoons are magical. I don't remember you learning that.
Well, that's from the birthday party.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I gave my spoon to Jason.
Okay.
Because I wanted him to know that we weren't leaving him. So
Right. Oh, that's right. Jason was like super nervous. Because didn't he stay up in the upper tunnel? Or he came down with you, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
No.
He stayed up there.
Okay. And then Yume learned, based on contrast, need to get Aaliyah to another party. Oh, you need to get to Aaliyah to another party because she loosened up at the party. So basically, yeah, okay, I see where you're going with it. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I wrote down you learned. And then the RP points went to Battle and the evolving relationship with Bucket, and you guys tied Aaliyah's attempts with Bucket, trying to figure out new things. We also had some good moments with Winnie being halfway down the ladder when Yume said, "Do you want to go by yourself to Battle?" And Yume's quick thinking and sending Dandy ahead to check out the Loom Beasts. All right, so I think we're ready to get started. Any questions before we get started?
Why did I go down first again? Because Bucket listens to me and we were going to send Bucket in?
I don't
Yeah, that
actually
sounds right.
remember. That does sound right. I know that you one of you is standing fairly close to like the line of little robots that are going by, and I forget what you guys nicknamed them. Bulb bots, because they have light bulbs on top.
All bots.
And they don't react to you at all. And I think you did sort of like push Bucket.
We tested that.
Yeah, and they didn't attack Bucket at all. They just moved around him. And I think you brought Shy down over your shoulders. That's a pretty typical move for Shy and you. I think you've done that more than once. So I think everybody's down here. Jason is probably peering over the side nervously. The cavern, besides having just dozens of openings that are either showing into a hallway or an empty space and a hallway's coming in, is crisscrossed with all kinds of like walkways and ladders and whatnot. I believe one of you saw... Okay, so battle went down. Winnie followed. Dandy is up with Jason as well. Yume had Aaliyah come down. Aaliyah was looking at compass points, cogs, 12 notches. You were talking about watches and you were muttering the poem under your breath. Battle was worried about the party stepping in the way of the machines. They look man-made, along with the gears and the loom. Maybe the cogs are missing from the looms. An interlude with Battle or with Bucket happened. Winnie was interested in looking down the tunnels, maybe to see where the rest of the party is. Yume had a one-track mind, wants to go over to the Loom Beasts, but Battle is holding her back. And Aaliyah found the next ladder. It's the same metal as the one they came down, and it also does not lead to a moving hallway. So, I think you're all on the ground. I think Aaliyah's probably partway across the cavern at that new ladder. I think, Yume, you're probably standing fairly close to Battle because I think Battle's keeping you from walking right up to a Loom Beast. And Winnie, I think you're probably maybe a little further out into the cavern because you're trying to look through those hallways. Does that sound right to everybody? All right. Cool. What are you doing next? Aaliyah, do you think you shared the ladder last time? Does everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
If I'm in the middle, am I in the middle?
I think you're probably like 2/3 of the way across the cavern, nearish that other ladder, so that you could see that it was the same metal as the one you came down.
So am I closer to the three beasts than everyone else?
Actually, I think the ladders, so I think, let's say you came down at like the south compass point of a compass. The Loom Beast that is being repaired is just to your left, so sort of southwest. And then the next Loom Beast would be at the like northwest point, and then the third Loom Beast would be at like northeast, and you would be over sort of southeast. Right, so you'd be like to the right of the party, like closer to the east point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I mean, can I examine them from here and look for information we don't have? Like, is there, do they have a hinged door on their backs, or lights in their eyes, or what
are they Transformers, and can we ride them home?
Do they have ticket machines?
Reprogram one.
Roll me an investigation check.
Okay.
Wow, I just want to get inside of one like a mech.
That is a disappointing 11.
Okay. What you can pick up with an 11 is that they very clearly what you remember of the looms back in town, because remember in game time it's only been like a day or two. What you remember of the looms in town would match what you're seeing here, except the ones you see here appear to be unfolded, right? The looms in town appear like these things have sort of folded up in on themselves. And when they're unfolded, they appear to be vaguely humanoid. Like there's a bit where a head would be, and there looks like a torso, but there's 4 arms on either side, and then sort of a base. And all of this is made out of sort of thin twining metal, so there aren't any real solid pieces to it. It looks weirdly fragile when it's unfolded, and the looms that you remember seeing in the warehouses back in town were much more compact, as if it had been folded like 2 or 3 times over on itself. And so in town they looked a lot sturdier because the metal was sort of overlapping. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's someone tell me if this is something we've explored already, but is there any way to tell if essentially all those years ago someone captured sentient beasts and turned them into machine slaves, or used their corpses to make fabric? Like,
God.
My interpretation is that the looms that are in the factory are still alive.
But barely. But perhaps enslaved.
I knew those people were no good.
But I'm not sure they know.
The Loom Beasts, just for scale, would be about 2 stories high when they're unfolded. Oh. And so this cavern you're in is huge. And the folded up ones are more like the size of a school bus.
So how do we tell if this is like voluntary, if this is enslavement? It doesn't seem like anyone in the town remembers that, right? Because they were like, we don't know. People just don't come out the caves.
And it was a really long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
As you're discussing this, right? Like you're discussing this in character. As you're discussing this in character, you hear sort of a grinding noise, like metal on metal. And the Loom Beast that appears to be being repaired actually does fold in on itself. And so it sort of like gets part way through the fold and then sort of looks like it gets stuck, like trying to fold in and fold out. And the bulb bots sort of spread out and watch it. And then as it's getting stuck, they all blink their lights and start climbing over the spot that's stuck. So I will give you that much information right now. Now you do something.
Well, it doesn't seem like they're going to be dangerous. Looks at Battle, who's I think is still holding Yume's sleeve.
You're muted, Sarah.
That would do it. We still don't know what happens if we get close to them. And I worry about what's going to happen, like with the ones we met in the beginning of this journey who were defensive. What happens if they're defensive? Because we can fight off a few little bots, but I'm a little more worried about our chances with these enormous things.
Can I use Hand of Healing on the Loom Beast that's injured, that's being repaired? Because it says if it's sentient, idea. Is it a creature?
That's an interesting idea. Let me take a look at that spell really quickly.
Can we communicate with it? Maybe.
Reach out.
Wait, if it's a creature, do we think it's a creature?
Well,
I mean, it could be a robot.
You're saying they're alive.
The other ones.
They seem to be alive. I don't think you have confirmation that they're fully sentient yet. I think what you would have picked up by now is that they the bulb bots appear to be more smarter than Bucket, for example, because they're moving on their own and they appear to be having discussions, right? But the Loom Beasts don't have as much personality. Yes, Battle. You do not need to raise your hand.
We're calling them Loom Beasts, yes?
I think that's what you've called them, yes.
What if I have Speak with Animals, which says you gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration?
No, I don't think so.
That's not, no. I think that's just what you're calling them. I don't think you've classified them yet as anything in particular.
But if I try to cast that and they are sentient, it would work, no?
If they were an animal.
Technically, that would be a way to determine whether they were... Okay, stop moving around.
Confirm that they're not beasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So please save your spell slot.
Okay.
So I can't do Hand of Healing?
Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
That would be another thing, right? You haven't confirmed that it's a creature. If you would like to try that and see if it works, you can.
Is it worth a key point? I'm gonna try.
It's entirely up to you.
Well,
Battle is very concerned about this action.
I would confer with my group. I would say, I'm gonna try and heal it and show them that we're friendly, you know, I'm sort of asking for permission without asking for permission.
You would need to get closer.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to touch
Looks
it,
like-
right?
Looks like battle. I can do it from further away.
I would prefer that. I don't. This is a lot.
Is that okay, Leah?
Yes, I just make it clear that it's coming from us so that they see it as a overture of peace.
Do we
Question
have their
mark?
attention already, or are we just far enough away that they're like not
You're
concerned with us?
You're far enough away that the interactions you've seen so far is when you get in the path of like the ones that are going back and forth, they just go around you. And so you're far enough away that you're not directly in their path anymore. You just did that as like a trial to
We've
see.
gotten in the way of the bull bots, but we're not very close to any of the Loom Beasts.
Correct. The one you're closest to is the one that's broken. It's maybe, I'll say 10 feet away.
Oh, that's considerably close. Then I will use my healing light ability
Okay.
and just
Remind
have
me.
a dancing little ball of light float over to it and attempt to heal it.
Okay, so can we say that this comes from your hand or your umbrella or your brain? Like it comes out of you somewhere?
I spin the umbrella, and it's a swirly wisp that comes off of it.
Perfect. Okay. So just to confirm that it comes from you, and then it sort of bobs through the air, and then can I say that it lands on the spot that the bulb bots are working on that's sort of stuck?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As the light is approaching, the bulb bots in that area move back. Because the light doesn't move like really fast, right? Like it's not like a zippy thing. It's more of a bobbing motion, right?
However you want to describe it, it's
Let's say
instantaneous.
bobbing. We're gonna say.
It sounds nicer.
Let's say bobbing for now. So the bulb bots sort of back off and they watch the metal absorb this light, and that spot on the metal glows, and you can hear them sort of clicking at each other, and they back off the Loom Beast, and the Loom Beast tries that motion again, and it can get a little further, but it's not quite completely unstuck. But the bulb bots all confer again, and they converge on that light spot, and they seem to be sort of pulling pieces of the light out of it, and then like repositioning them, almost as if they were pulling out wires and repositioning the wires, but it's your spell. Is that okay?
That's incredible.
And once they're done, they sort of back off, and then one of them like pulls out the tiniest hammer in the world you've ever seen and like slams it on that spot, and then it pulses, and they all skitter off of it, and the Loom Beast tries the fold, and it can fold all the way down and all the way back up. And so it unfolds again, and the Tinkerlings all look excited because they're like jumping around, and then they run back up on the Loom Beast as if they're checking other bits of it.
Does it appear to be fully recovered now, or are there other injuries and broken spots that it still has?
It's I'm thinking that the Loom Beast is a fairly complicated piece of machinery, so I think I can tell you that the bulb bots seem to be centered on two other areas, but you're not seeing the same sort of performance you were before that really indicated what was wrong, but they do seem to be working on two other spots.
Okay, I think Yume is just super excited and tries to run up to it, and maybe grab Aaliyah along the way if she'll go.
Yeah, I'll go
It
with you.
worked,
I'm
it
not letting you
worked.
go by yourself.
You should try too. I think they'll let us. Maybe we can heal them some more, and it'll.
Yep, I'll
The
put
little
my
ones have
hand
to do some work, but I think
hand
we
of
can
healing.
fix it.
on one of those different spots.
Okay, so Yume and Alea are gonna run up to the Loom Beast, and
I think I'll actually slow Yume down so that we're approaching cautiously but friendly.
Okay, so as you get closer to the Loom Beast, you're actually having to like pick where you put your feet because of all of the bulb bots, and you notice that if you like go to put your foot down, they move out of your way. And then if your foot stays in one spot too long, sometimes one of them will just walk over your foot. It just feels like little tiny kitten paws, which is actually a much more disconcerting feeling than it sounds like. And you work your way up to the Loom Beast, and you work your way up to the first spot, and you can see that the Tinkerlings do appear to be pulling what look like pieces of the metal out, even though the metal looks completely solid, right? Like it doesn't look like it's woven. It looks like a solid. When I say that the pieces seem to be sort of twisted or woven together, I mean like on a much bigger scale, right? But they seem to be pulling out little tiny threads of metal and then reseating them, and it just blends right back into the metal. They will pause every now and then to confer. This is what you're seeing as you approach. And when you get up to that spot, what do you do?
There's no, like, the Loom Beast doesn't have a face, correct?
Not really. It kind of has a base and then a spot at the top that could be a head if you put googly eyes on it.
So I'm gonna reach my hand. Is this spot high above me?
No, the first spot that you can approach is actually about, I'll say, actually it's probably about 8 feet off the ground. There are spots on this that you can climb.
Your reach should be high enough for that, though, because we're both like 6 something, 7
Yeah, aren't
something.
you pretty tall?
I'm slightly less than 6 feet.
What? But you're an elf, really?
Well, yeah, I am.
Did you make yourself a short?
Aren't you a little
I
short
didn't
for a
do it on
stormtrooper?
purpose.
You're not. You're not actually. Well,
Hey Winnie, can you give Aaliyah a boost? Or I could get that one, but I think that would be nicer.
Yeah, I can help.
I can just magic it. I don't need to touch it. I'm like, no, give her a boost up there. Like, help her out.
I'm going to give Aaliyah a boost.
now are you going to give Aaliyah a boost by making like a spot she can step into, or are you just gonna grab her by the hips and throw her up, or are you gonna put her on your shoulders?
I was gonna do the whole like make a nest out of my hands and like give her something to step up on and then just like
Okay.
lift her up.
Yeah, with my monk agility, that works great. And then I'm gonna. Yeah, but I'm reaching like in a way of asking permission.
Right. And again, just like when you were intending to step, and as you put your foot down, they'd move. The bulb bots do move out of the way of your hand, and it's more hesitant than on the ground because like they're doing something. But one of them sort of bumps into another, and they sort of vibrate a little bit, and then they back off to see what that seems like they want to see what you're gonna do.
Okay, and the Loom Beast doesn't seem to do anything, no
Nope.
reaction at all. Okay, so I'm gonna slowly put my flat palm onto the beast, and this very soothing, warm energy is gonna radiate out as I attempt to do Hand of Healing.
When you do that, actually, let me ask you a question. So does your healing come from the same place that you cast your other spells from? Does it tap into the same kind of energy?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to story this a little bit. So instead of a ball of light, what ends up happening is it's like you've heated the metal, and so it starts to turn sort of a cherry molten color. But your hand is on it and you don't feel any heat from it, and there aren't any like heat waves. It just appears to be that color. And when that happens, the Tinkerlings all bob up and down, and then they start trying to get in under your hand and pull. It almost looks like, instead of thread this time, it looks like they're pulling like syrup or something, right? Like out of it. But it's that cherry molten color, and when they plug it back in or weave it back in, it turns back into the color of the metal around it. Do you pick your hand up, or do they need to like work around and under you?
If I move my hand, I guess I move my hand when I'm finished.
Okay, yeah. So they just continue working around you, and the color slowly fades, and then you see them do the same motion you saw when the Loom Beast was able to unfold and fold entirely, and they just sort of like jump up and down, and then they all skitter over to the other point of concentrated bolt bots.
I have so many questions. And
You know
nobody in
what
here
we can
speak.
do?
You're gonna
If
do
you can heal it, I can talk to it. No?
Okay.
Beasts and creatures are different, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
If it's a creature at all, it's a construct.
Oh, bud. Hi. Are you very
What does
cute?
this mean?
This is my anxiety. So we're just gonna comfort him a little bit. But my stream usually loves pet cam, so here's a free pet cam. There you go, bud. Yeah, there's the purse. Go sleep. Yeah, so constructs are considered creatures. So a beast, you want to think about beasts like a wolf or
Animals.
yeah, something
Yeah.
more
The
animalistic.
interweb of D&D and beyond says beasts include all varieties of ordinary animals, dinosaurs, and giant versions of animals.
I like that dinosaurs is included in there,
As it should.
right? Okay, so does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, I see the frown though, or the
But you may
squint rather.
be able to just talk to it with
I guess-
language. I'm not sure if we've
Yeah.
really tried that yet.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, I was just thinking I'd like to just say out loud, can anyone here tell us what's going on?
A bunch of the bulb bots sort of pivot, and that's when you realize, because they all seem to be looking at you, that what this creature looks like, I don't know if I've described it in detail yet, but what this looks like is, are you familiar with like an oil can, like an old traditional oil can where it's got the round base and then it comes up to like a point? It looks like somebody took that and then stuck a round like metal donut on it and then stuck a light bulb on the top. And the middle piece, the round donut metal piece, looks like it has it looks like somebody just stabbed a sharp thing in twice. But those look like eyes. And then off the back are these sort of filigree type wings, and and it's got these where it would seem to have arms appear to be long thin pieces of metal that they seem to be able to control, and then underneath it looks like a spring coming out of the bottom of it, and a spring down into another solid piece of metal with two more thin pieces coming off of it. So when they're standing still, the solid piece of metal rests on the ground, with the two smaller pieces of metal off the sides, sort of balancing it. And then when it moves around, that movement's coming from the spring, and you see several of them jump really high. So that's what they look like. And so when you say, "Can anyone tell me what's going on?" Like 6 or 7 of them pivot around, and you can see what look like eyes. And then they all huddle together, and then one of them comes over, and the rest of them clear out a space around that one, and it's sort of sitting in front of you, and its light is blinking, but it's not saying anything.
Is there be any kind of pattern to the light blinking, like Morse code, that we could potentially decipher?
If anyone wants to roll an investigation check to determine that. No, is that what I want? Do I want an investigation check? We use that one a lot. I'll tell you what. If y'all can think of a clever way to use any of the skills you're proficient in, I'll take it.
Perception. I mean, I've been paying attention to patterns and rhythms this
Yep,
whole time.
that'll work for you. I'll take that. So go ahead and roll that.
Same with, yeah, with Winnie with perception.
Anyone else trying to decipher?
16 plus 6 is 22.
Excellent.
I think
also
Battles.
got a 16.
Oh.
Plus 5 is 21.
I think Battle's watching Bucket to see reactions at this point, and she's entirely feeling uncomfortable because not only is she like a wood elf, but is also used to like bodies or non-mechanical and metal things, and is like now in her head about how like this town of evil peach people who are all like clones are
That's right.
now
You're super
enslaving robot
suspicious, yeah.
dragons.
They're
And
weird twins and triplets.
yep, she's trying to connect all the conspiracy theories together with this nice, neat bow. Meanwhile, feeling completely out of her element because her like her bow and arrow are gonna do nothing down here. So she's just like,
Yeah.
Winnie just wants to. If we can communicate with these things, Winnie just wants to find out where Jason's
But
friends are.
Right.
And
Yep,
how to
and
get
I-
out of here.
Battle's just interested in Bucket at this point because at least this one likes me.
Okay. So Aaliyah and Winnie, I think you both figured this out at around the same time. There appear to be a patterns of there appear to be two distinct patterns that you can see happening around the space. And with a little bit of can I go ahead and say that you start asking a couple of questions to see which patterns, and you figure out that the patterns are a sort of a yes and a no.
Okay.
That is actually what I was going to suggest, is asking like yes and no questions of things that we already know the answer to, like, do you work here?
Yes.
Did you fix the Loom Beasts?
Do you like bacon? No. I do actually like bacon, but yeah.
Are we in danger?
Will Robinson.
Are you in danger?
You asked the Bullbots if they're in danger.
Yeah.
They blink no.
Okay. Have you seen humans recently? Have you seen any humanoids?
Blinks yes.
I'm looking at the party for other questions too. Is it, who, I can't say who's in charge here. Do you have a leader?
They seem to sort of mill around for a second, and then the one in front of you sort of hesitantly says yes.
Is it you?
Very quick no.
Can you show us where your leader is?
Oh, come on, you missed such a great opportunity.
Who, me or Winnie?
Take us to your leader.
I wanted to say that, but I was trying to rephrase it in the form of a closed-ended question.
They sort of mill around a little bit, and the one that's in the clear space in front of you sort of like goes left, goes right, backs up, spins around in a little circle, and then hunches down on itself and blinks no as sadly as possible.
Is your leader alive?
They just sort of they blink out of pattern, and you're getting the idea that just means sort of confusion, like they don't know how to answer that.
He disappeared.
Is your leader hurt?
You get the same sort of confusion.
Okay.
Blinking.
Do you know where your leader is?
More confusion.
Did people take your leader?
They all get really still at this, and then the one in front of you blinks no.
Is your leader humanoid?
Blinks yes.
Is your leader good to you?
All of them blink yes, just over and over and over again.
Has
Does
it
your
been a
leader
long
like
time
visitors?
One at a time. What was that?
I said, does your leader like visitors?
they sort of, you get confusion again. I know, because you're throwing some concepts at them that you're realizing they don't really understand, like death and visitors. You know, what was your question?
Has it been a long time since you've seen your leader?
You see them confer again, and then one of them makes sort of a click beep noise, and then another one makes it, and then a bunch of them make it, but you realize they're making it sort of in a line, like they're passing off the click beep noise. And it gets over to the Loom Beast on the far side, and one of the ones holding a weaving makes that sound back, but really loud, and then hands a weaving off, and then starts to skitter over. And as it skitters over, it keeps making that click beep noise, but like quieter. And then when it gets all the way over to you, it talks to it, like it bumps into, and it seems to be conferring with the one in the middle. And then it starts to run away, and the one in the middle like makes a harsh noise, and it runs back, and then sort of like hunches down on the ground, and the one that you've been talking to like gets real tall, like on its spring, and then the very bottom where the spring like springs up into of the one that's been click beeping, sort of like rocks back on a hinge, and there's a small piece of paper inside of it.
I take the paper to read it.
Unless it's just a blank piece of paper.
Okay, let's see what languages y'all speak.
Bucket didn't do anything during all of that, correct?
Nope, Bucket's fine. Occasionally a Bulbot will go over and check Bucket and like tap on different parts of it, and Bucket will like move for it, and then the little Bulbots go away.
I feel like Bucket's slowly turning into a droid.
Bucket's adorable.
The D&D version of C-3PO or R2-D2?
Listen,
R2-D2.
Bucket's gonna be in the drawing for this party, so.
Bucket.
Give me 1 second.
Do you want to just call them out?
What?
Do you want to just call out the languages?
Oh, actually, how about y'all call them out? I did look them up, but y'all call them out. I'm looking something up real quick.
Dwarvish, Celestial, Sylvan.
Mm-hmm.
Common and primordial.
Ooh.
Okay.
Where do I find them again?
It's on your D&D Beyond sheet.
Oh.
Yeah. You found it.
Bottom left.
It's the bottom left corner if you're using a PC to look at it.
Common, Elvish, and Primordial.
Okay.
So we can speak Primordial.
And what do you got, Winnie?
Common, Draconic, Elvish, and Giant.
Okay. So
Actually, I would be able to speak Elvish as well. That's weird that that's not on there.
Yeah.
So, Aaliyah, you can't read what's on this page. And the letters don't seem to be like letters. It seems to be like different sort of geometric shapes and slashes and dots. But do you show it to the rest of your party?
Yes, you may, and Winnie are closest to me, so I'll show it to them first.
You actually recognize this as a very strange form of celestial.
Ooh.
So I hand it over.
Do we need to take a quick break? Is that going to be all right for everybody? We take a quick 5-minute break. All right, I'm going to throw up the be right back screen. So stream, we will be back at, we'll say, around 30 minutes after the hour. Thanks, everybody. Hi, Stream. I think we're back, but we're going to check the audio because I am now suspicious forever. Stream, I think we're back, but we're going to check the audio
Can you
because
hear
I
us?
am now suspicious forever.
Can you hear
Twitch.
us?
We're back, but we're going to check the audio.
Can you hear us?
Yes, okay, we're good. All right, so you had just discovered that it was a strange form of celestial on this piece of paper. And I totally, during the break, was gonna tell you what it said, and I totally forgot. So give me 1 second. I have to look at my notes.
Cute little twinkle in the eye of Yume as she flashes back to studying Celestial and all the religious texts back at her home.
So the interesting thing about celestial in this world is that it deals a lot with the way that planes intersect, and the way they talk is not straightforward at all, especially the way they note stuff, especially when it comes to time. So that's one of the first things that pops into your head because you see some of the notations that indicate that this is a time. And so it's again not straightforward, but when you piece it all together, you are seeing actually, do you want me to just tell you so you don't have to dig through Discord?
Please?
It weirdly translates to the time 3:25 a.m.
I say that out loud. I tell the team, but I don't know what that means. Does anybody know what significance this time is?
Yeah, no, go ahead. You guys keep talking.
I'm gonna ask the tinkerers. I'm gonna say 3:25 a.m. Is that right?
The one that you've been talking to the most literally looks like he puts his little curly arms on his hips and starts making a sort of a repetitive screeching noise at the one that's hunkered down in front of him. And that one sort of like makes some spitting noises back and then runs over to the ladder and hops on the, like hangs from the bottom rung of the second ladder that you found that was similar, had the same metal as the ladder you climbed down.
Just stays there?
Yep.
Looks like he's asking us to go with him.
Do any of the
Before
cogs have these symbols on them?
Roll me an investigation check.
– 13 plus 4 is 17.
What you realize when you're looking at the cogs specifically for this is what you took to be scrapes or dings actually do appear to match some of the markings on that piece of paper.
Where's those other markings as well? I'm trying to find.
Well, each
From the
one
front door.
I share this with the team.
each one has a number on it, right?
Okay.
we have the... Well, look at this. This is a 3, and that matches up with that cog, and we have a 5, but I don't think we have a 2.
Mm-hmm. I have drawn something really weird and I can't remember what it means. Can I read the poem again? Does everyone remember it?
Yeah.
I don't,
Do
and I
you-
would love it if you
I
did.
have it written down too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Aaliyah's been muttering it this whole time. Space and time, wind, unwind, spinning and stirring. Incomplete until you find hands that point, gears are whirring. Can't get out without time.
We have a time.
We have a broken clock. Let's go. Put some gears in a broken clock, maybe? Question mark?
Maybe the 2 is already there.
Yeah. Why do I have so I have a picture of a hand with 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th finger has no number in it. Does anyone know why I did that?
Nope.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna follow the tinkerer that's on the ladder, looking at you, May, for approval.
Yeah.
The one that's been
I'm ready to
talking
go.
to you is gonna the tinkerling that's been communicating with you the most is gonna run over to the group that's working, and then run back to you and sort of hop on your shoe and just ride there.
As if Tinkerling wasn't cute enough.
Would the Tinkerling want to ride inside a bucket?
4 of them pile into the bucket. And then another one like tries to climb in, and one of them like punts it out. And then they sort of stick themselves in a way where like their vaguely arm-shaped things are like hooked onto it, and their eyes are looking over the edge. And they just make this low little humming noise that on a cat might sound like a purr.
I pick it up in defiance of myself, questioning my actions, and set it gently on Shield's back, or Shy's back.
Wait, you pick up the one that got punted out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So this one is now making a high-pitched squealing noise. It just seems like too excited.
Is Battle like, why do I care about these things?
I'm gonna take
I
the one
think
on
Battle's like, who am I anymore?
Yeah, I really imagine I'm doing this for the stream because they can't see you. I really imagine that Battle sort of like sees one punted out of the bucket. You can just see the fight on her face of like, you know what? Whatever, and you pick it up and you put it on Shy's back, and it's excited, and like you're trying not to smile, and then you're like, oh my god, why am I doing this? You know, it's like this internal struggle, and it's much more subtle than I'm making it look in the camera. But is that kind of what's happening?
That's about right. And she's been paranoid the whole time, but since she's feeling validated, she's like, well, heck, we're embracing. And Bucket hasn't caused me any harm, so fine. Not all of my creatures are obtained by voluntary situations anymore, so that's fine.
You kidnapped this one, is what you mean.
I just didn't want it to feel left behind.
Okay, so as you're reconfiguring these little bots, the Loom Beast behind you appears to be unfolding entirely, and it repositions itself into a position that looks like the other two, and does start to pull material out and start weaving.
The one we healed?
The one you healed, yeah.
Okay.
And the
Have you still got your scarf? Battle?
Jason's wearing it.
Okay, and he's not in here with us?
No, he's up at the top of the last ladder.
Okay.
He's looking down at you all.
That's probably a good thing. I don't think we should have it in here. That's my gut feeling. So I'm just going to start climbing up the ladder, following the other Tinkerling, and wondering what the DM's little smile just then meant.
I play with I'm a player in another campaign with a GM that's running sort of a horror game, and I've learned not to say like, oh my god, is this what's happening out loud, because sometimes he'll just make it happen, you know? Or if I'm like, oh, what if this is what's happening? And so whenever players give me ammo, basically I find it amusing. Okay.
Jason, are you feeling okay up there? It's clear that they're not hostile towards us. They all seem nice. Do you want to come with us?
Jason he looks like he's struggling, and he's like, I don't want to be alone again. But I don't know, it's this, and he seems to be sort of struggling.
I can leave Dandy with you, or you can come with us.
I feel like... Does Winnie have anything to say about that? Because I feel like Winnie would have some feelings.
If Winnie's what are we called? Winnie's my PC. What am I to Winnie?
You're her Player?
Player. That was Winnie's player wasn't munching on pretzels. She would have jumped in a little sooner. Winnie has a lot of feelings about that. So I think Winnie is gonna climb up the ladder a little bit, just so.
Which
not
one?
Like, the one because Jason's at the top of the ladder.
Jason's
Like,
at the top of
up
the, we'll call it the first ladder. That's the one you all came in on.
And so I'm gonna like crawl up there, not to like leave or anything, but just to like be a little bit more one-on-one with Jason a little bit.
Yep.
And she's gonna look at him. He's probably just like standing or sitting there, like holding his spoon.
Yep. And the scarf.
Spoon that I gave him.
And like petting Dandy.
Petting Dandy. And Winnie's just gonna say, I know that you've already been through a lot. And not knowing what's ahead can seem a little scary. However, I think it can be a little less scary when you're with people that you can trust. Wouldn't you agree?
He nods vigorously.
Not that you necessarily trust us right now, because you just met us and we disappeared and then we came back. And
He was petting Dandy the whole time you were talking, but when you say not that you can necessarily trust us, his like the motion freezes. And he looks at you like, really? That's supposed to be comforting? You're supposed to be comforting me. And like squints at you like, really?
Winnie's not good at pep talk.
I think Battle eventually just looks up there and says, listen, buddy, it's either these things in here or us. In the kindest way possible. We're gonna head out, so you coming?
I would like you to come with us.
And he says, okay, I'll come. Yeah. And so he starts to climb down the ladder.
Yay.
He's super nervous if any of the Tinkerlings or Boltbots come anywhere near him.
Winnie,
As when
can
he
you
walks
put the,
by Battle,
put the scarf
she's
in the
just gonna be like,
bag.
Thanks.
You want him to put the scarf in the bag?
I'm like, Winnie, grab the scarf and put it out of sight.
Why?
Because it shows that we might know about perhaps some ill or imprisoned Loom Beasts.
They seem to be kind of happy with their leader person, but there might still be some weird things going on with why and when they're making fabric.
But I totally defer to you all, so I'm just going to say it one time and then, like, just an idea.
I don't want anyone touching it anyway, so I'm for this plan.
I forget why you gave it to
for it.
Jason in the first place.
As a player, I'm like, no, bring it out. Let's see what happens.
See what happens.
All yours, but
You
it
miss.
actually makes a lot of sense to
Yeah.
not have it around.
I mean, I'm not sure it's going to inspire that much more trust in us from Jason if we take it away from him after giving it to him and we're hiding it.
But what if the beasts don't like him having it?
If it
Then
puts
we're
them in
literally
danger.
taking him into a dangerous situation.
Winnie's going to walk over to Jason and say, hey, we need to keep that scarf safe. So I'm going to put it in my bag real quick.
And he sort of holds it for a second. He's like, oh, okay. He seems to trust you the most, first, despite your comment about not trusting. And so he takes it off and he helps you put it in the bag. And he's very nervous about it.
I'm just going to put a reassuring hand on his shoulder, which I don't know if it's very reassuring to have this huge fur bulk putting a hand on your shoulder, looking down at you. But
Okay.
in lieu of saying anything that is probably not going to be helpful, I'm just going to try and give him a reassuring look.
Right. Yeah, fair. Yes. Okay, so Aaliyah, you are on your way up the ladder. The second
Following
ladder.
the Tinkerling.
Right. Okay, so the Tinkerling is riding on your boot, and it's making sort of a noise that sounds like wee, wee, every time you step.
Isn't there one that hung on the ladder though? Then
Yeah,
I'm following that one.
He's climbing, and then there was
Okay.
the one on your shoe,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's 4 in a bucket and 1 riding shy.
Okay.
So you officially have 7 Tinkerlings.
Awesome.
Well done.
7. Great number.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so who's climbing up after Aaliyah?
Yes.
Did you say guess?
Maybe?
I said yes.
Yes, okay. I was like, I'm not going to guess. You tell.
So difficult, you may.
Sassy. Okay, so Yume follows. It probably makes sense for Battle to be going next because of Winnie going back for Jason. Does that sound right?
Okay.
I
Now,
think
Battle-
Winnie is bringing up the rear with Jason.
Now, Battle, are you going to throw Shire over your shoulder again and tie a rope to Bucket and haul him up after?
Mm-hmm. I've got quite the brigade going on.
Are you muttering the entire time you're doing this? Like, I had a dog
Yes.
and a turtle and then now a
Stupid
bucket.
little
and then a goddamn-
robots. I don't trust them. And what are these people doing? And
About halfway up, the one that's riding on Shy, like, slips and starts, like, crying. And then, like, manages to climb back up.
I probably hesitantly pick it up and put it on my shoulder in like the little nook next to my neck, so it's yet safer.
Like between you and Shy, yeah. Like so, it just like cuddles, and it's sort of shivering. And then the ones in the bucket, as you haul up the bucket, like a little bit at a time, every time you're like hauling it up, they make the same noise that the one on Aaliyah's shoe was making, like.
Boone, you can't do this to us. You're like, no, they're just robots. It's fine. No thoughts. And now you're like, it's scared. It's shivering.
It's
and it's all
been-
emotional and cuddling
Having
now.
It's
fun.
been too long since I discovered this on the internet, and now I've had too many thoughts about them.
Mhm.
They
Okay.
have evolved. I was gonna say, when we came in here, they were hostile, and now they're sweet, cute little,
Well,
like little bee boobs.
the ones
Like
that you're-
Ewoks.
the little bitty
Mhm.
ones are a lot more intricate than Bucket. Bucket is basically a hunk of metal that's been hollowed out with some weird wheels. That's it. The ones that the little ones have a lot more like they're a lot more anthropomorphized and a lot more detailed. So Winnie, are you gonna have Jason climb up in front of you or go up? Yeah.
Yep, he'll go up in front of me.
Okay, so at the top is actually a platform that looks like just like a chunk of the wall was pushed out. And it's crowded. And Aaliyah, the first thing you see when you get up there is a pile of gears.
How many in this pile?
5.
Does it just so happen to be the 5 that we're missing? 2, 7, 8, 10, and 11?
Go ahead and no, that's dumb. Yes, it did is that I was gonna have you roll an investigation check, and I was like, no, they already have the numbers on them. Like this, it just yes, they are. They all do happen to be the last pile.
We've got all the cogs. Oh God, we've got all the cogs.
I see. I'm gonna report that over my shoulder as I climb into the room and then continue to explore the room.
Oh, you're not in the room yet. You're on a platform at the
On a
very
platform,
top
at the
of
top of the ladder.
the ladder, and there's a door, but before
Oh,
the
sorry.
door, like a little bit to the left, are the gears. So you found those. Okay. You gonna wait for everybody to get to the top of the platform, or are you gonna say, "I found the gears," and then walk through the door?
Is the platform big enough for all of us?
It'd be a tight squeeze.
I found the gears. There's a door. Do you think I should open it?
Doors
Are
in
you-
this place are awfully shifty. Maybe we should wait until we're all up there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make space then and wait.
Okay, so
Is
y'all
the
get
platform
see
big
if-
enough for us all to fit up there?
just
I also
barely.
want to see if the Tinkerling is telling me anything.
No, he seems
Is
to.
this
He's just sitting on your shoe.
is this
Yeah.
door safe?
He blinks yes, but the other one blinks no.
I agree. Let's squeeze in up here before we go through the door.
Is this
While we're
one of those
waiting on-
riddles that's like one of them tells the truth and one of them always lies?
Oh no, probably.
We have an odd number. We can get a consensus. I turn to the bucket. Is it safe?
They just all blink at you like we're in a bucket. They're very excited.
That's so cute.
All right, so you're all at the top of the platform.
Oh, while I was waiting for them to climb up, I was going to, at a safe distance from the Tinkerlings, I was going to use my produce flame to like flash a light at them, like as if I was trying to speak their language.
They all start making the most strange noises. They get super excited, and they all start blinking furiously at you. And the one on your shoe is like tapping on your shoe as well, and they're making all these weird noises.
Can I discern anything?
No, it is
Okay.
cacophonous and ridiculous.
So I'm just like, you like that, huh? And then I put it away as everyone joins.
This is too cute.
Okay, so you're all at the top of the platform. Okay, and
Surprised Battle
there is a
hasn't
door.
wanted to adopt all of these yet.
Too
Well,
paranoid.
None of them have bitten your bottom, so that was the impetus for adopting the last one. And I really think Freya drove that bus, so.
I just supported it and thought it would be funny. But also feel a lot more comfortable with beasts.
Because you can talk to them. Okay, so there's a door, and you're all at the top of the platform. What do you do next?
We go through the door.
Hang on. I'm
Is
seeing
it
a
push or
hand.
pull?
It's got a handle that you have to turn and then push in.
Okay, so I'm guessing I'm closest to it because I
Yep.
was making room for all
Yep.
the others. So I'm gonna look over my shoulder, touch the handle, and slowly turn it,
You feel
looking at the Tinkerlings as I do so.
You feel it give. The one that gave you the note is actually trying to stick his flat, skinny hands in the crack, like he's helping. And then the door is extremely heavy, but you are able to sort of push it open, and the room is completely dark. And those of you with dark vision realize you can't see into the room with dark vision either. But the Tinkerling with that gave you the note trots right in.
I produce flame.
You still can't see what's in the room. You haven't stepped into the room, right?
Oh, is this like
No,
that one
I'm
room
just-
that we couldn't see until we got into it?
Feels very
Wasn't that
much
the
like
room
that.
with all the handles?
In case it... I think we can walk in a couple steps. It probably is like that room from before.
Did we need lights in there? I don't remember.
No.
It
Okay.
was just weird magic where... It was a little dimmer in there, I think, maybe? But, like, once we were in, the magical darkness wasn't an issue anymore.
Okay.
So Leo steps in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as soon as your eyeballs cross the threshold, you can actually see what's in the rest of the room. You see, well, is everybody gonna pile in after her, or is she like the sacrificial lamb?
No, go on
See
after
what
her.
happens.
Oh, yeah, I think we're all planning on following right on our heels. And
Okay.
for sure, if Jason is hesitating, I'm just going to give him a little shove. A little loving shove. To follow after
so
Battle.
Winnie, are you the last one through the door?
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as you get through the door, and you it's one of those really heavy doors. So you kind of like you never open it all the way. You open it enough to get through, and you step to the side, and it slams shut. And the 5 other people in the room that are not your party go, "No! Damn it!" in different levels of upsetness. And Jason gasps, falls to his knees, and starts crying, and is like, "You're alive!" And they all pile on him.
Friends! Ah! That's Hannah, not Winnie. Winnie doesn't make that noise.
Right.
But I mean, maybe.
Winnie definitely looks really happy right now.
Yeah. So they're kind of in a pile on the floor. What you're seeing in this room is you know those cabinets people put in their garages, you know, to like store tools and crap. So there's cabinets and then like benches and then cabinets and then benches, and you're in a circular room. And as Jason and the 5 other people are like slapping him on the back, sort of get to their feet and move away, you see that in the very center of the room is something laid into the floor in glass and edged in metal. The rest of the room is all stone. And all of the cabinets are shut, and you see little like nests. It looks like the 5 other individuals have been in here for long enough to take naps at least. And they all and there is a very dim light coming from the edges of the ceiling where the wall meets the ceiling.
I'd like to look and see what it is. And I'm wondering if it's hopefully a clock that's missing some gears.
Are you looking at the floor?
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second.
The circle edged in metal.
Yeah. I have to write this down because sometimes I make shit up in the moment and sometimes I don't. And this helps me keep track of what I actually said out loud. Okay. Okay, roll me an investigation check.
Okay, so that's a 17, but I still have a roleplay point, and it's getting late. What do people think?
You.
Reroll?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
Can only get better.
Now it's 23.
Great. The circle on the floor is about 3 feet by 3 feet, so it is huge. It just looks like a mess of gears. What you've the edge of the metal is raised, and you because you rolled over a 20, you realize instantly that the gears are a little bit less thick than that. And is it fair to say you would feel around the edges of the metal?
Mm-hmm.
Among other things that you're doing, you do find an opening that a gear would fit through, and the edges of the metal all seem to be like the metal seems to be embedded with more of those slashes and dots that you were seeing on that piece of paper, and the glass is perfect. There's no marring of it at all, even though the 5 other people in the room sort of jumped on Jason in the middle of it. So it's either super thick or really, you don't know. And then the gears underneath are rather incomprehensible, but if you squint real hard and decide you can assume whatever you want, it might be the inner workings of a clock.
The symbols on the metal edge are numbers?
You would have to ask.
Okay, yes, I would. I ask you, May and Winnie, that question. Do you see these symbols? Do you think they're numbers?
It looks like they match up pretty well with the symbols on the paper.
You realize that while it's definitely celestial writing, it's incomprehensible. You're just not quite sure. It's not forming words.
But
you're not sure.
It's written the same way. It's just not meaningful.
Right.
Excuse me. It's not meaningful in any way.
Interesting. Well, in the meantime, I am offering water and any kind of like rations to these. I'm guessing it's Sarah, Caleb, Hickory, Nathan, Bettany, and Trilus.
Yes. So they thank you. They're introducing themselves. Jason is introducing them, and he's sort of beside himself with excitement. He starts asking them questions like, "What happened after you all? Caleb, I swear you disappeared through the floor, and Nathan and Bettany, you were screaming on the other side of the wall, and like, what happened?" And they all start explaining like, "Oh, we all like every time something like Caleb was like, yeah, I fell through the floor and it hurt when I landed, but I was in another hallway and I just kept going and I ended up in that cavern out there with those giant metal things, and I climbed up every ladder, and this one had a door. I didn't want to go into another hallway. I walked through the door, it slammed shut behind me, and you can't open it again. So we've been stuck in here." And everybody's sort of like, "Yeah, that's what happened to me."
Is there anything else in the room with celestial writing on it?
Do you want to start looking through the cabinets?
Yes.
Roll me some investigation checks for who was ever doing that.
Natural 7.
Uh-oh.
+6.
Ooh,
It's
Can
13.
I veto weird because we're getting close to the end of our evening? Thank you.
Yes, you
My
can.
apologies.
I rolled a 4, so I'm gonna re-roll with my RP point.
There you go.
15 in
And
total.
Sorry,
Plus
Aaliyah,
four.
remind me what you got.
13.
All right, so you're looking through these cabinets. The light that's illuminating the room at the top of the walls where it meets the ceiling just don't cast a lot of light inside of the cabinets. But in one of them, you do find a pile of what look vaguely like tools. They are made out of the same metal as the looms and as the gears. And they do appear to have sort of markings on them. But if you try to read them again, it looks like celestial writing, but it doesn't seem to be comprehensible.
Are there a lot of tools?
There are 2 that look really, really similar, probably the same, and there's a third one that doesn't look like either of them. So there's 3 weird pieces of metal.
I'll bring them out. Just like have them around the circle, just in case we need them. How do we figure out what these mean?
I'm going to ask the Tinkerling, is this what you wanted to show us?
The one that had the the one that had the note in its butt is trying to climb into the opening in the metal ring, and there's no way he'll fit at all. And the one on your shoe starts like slapping at it, and they sort of like square off and seem to be hissing at each other.
Do we need to put something in there? I ask them.
The one with the note in its butt runs over to where the gears are and starts like trying to. There's no way he's gonna move it, but he tries to move one of the gears.
So we're going to bring all the gears over? All 12 gears?
Sure.
Like the cogs. Do
And
they
then-
fit in the opening?
Was there only one opening?
There's only one opening, and Aaliyah already knows that it's the exact size for a gear to fit in. Just the right width, just the right height.
Shall I put in the number 3?
So one single gear can go in this contraption?
At a time.
I'm wondering if I put in the 3 and then the 2 and then the 5.
Oh, see what you're doing because of 325.
But we'd have to take a 3 out to put the 2 in?
Well, you
Unless
haven't
it
put
would like.
you haven't put a gear in yet, so you don't know what putting a gear through that slot will do.
I'm
Let's start
imagining
with
it's like a
3.
coin slot. Okay, so I'm going to put 3 in.
Okay, so you put a 3 in. It seems to like sit, and you can see it sticking out under the glass, and then it tips and it slides into like a mechanism that starts to turn around, and it stops at a point that is like where the opening is. We'll pretend the opening is a south point on a compass. The 3 stops at the east point on the compass. If you're at south, it's over at east.
It stops at the 3 o'clock position, in other words.
I put the 2 in.
It tips, the mechanism grabs it, and then it spits it back out.
Wouldn't be the 2, it would be, at 25 would be 5.
Okay, let's do that
3
then.
and 25.
Did the 3
Yes.
travel 270 degrees or 90 degrees?
It turned counterclockwise. So it turned, like it went from south to east. It didn't go southwest, northeast.
Okay.
Sorry, is that what you were asking?
Yes. So
Yeah.
it turned counterclockwise and went 90 degrees and just stopped there.
Yes.
So it didn't go around. So if we put another one in, wouldn't it just go in that same direction to the 3?
Well, so interestingly enough, when you
Spit
put
the 2 out.
you put the 2 in and it spit it back out.
So can I try the 5?
Yeah. So you put the 5 in, and the mechanism rotates back 1 position, and the gear slides into that spot, and then it rotates back. So as Winnie pointed out, the 3 is in the 3 o'clock position on a clock. The 5 is now in the 5 o'clock position on a clock.
So this design is far more intelligent than I was giving it credit for.
Does anything happen? Because that's 3:25 a.m.
You don't see anything happen.
Is there anywhere to put clock hands?
There is a center to the mechanism, but you don't see any clock hands.
But the tools in the cupboard.
They're actually too thick to put in the slot.
As it says, incomplete
No.
until you find hands that point.
Yeah,
That's what the poem says.
but there's no hands that point
Space
in
and
this room.
time, wind and unwind, spinning and stirring, incomplete until you find hands that point.
Wait, I think I figured it out.
Go on then.
Are there only 2 slots for these cogs?
There's only
There's
one
nowhere
slot.
to put it. I'm sorry, not Did you put the 2 in yet?
No, it spat it out.
Did you try again after the 5?
No, I can do that now.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm going to put the 2 in.
It spits that out.
Okay.
So when you say there's something in the middle, it's under the glass. Like, it's
Yes.
not something I could mount something
No.
on. Oh, okay.
Are we able to retrieve 3 and the 5 somehow? Or are they permanent in there?
I don't think there's a way to get them out because now they're under glass.
I'm going to ask the Tinkerlings. Do you know where the hands are?
They just look confused. And then the one with the note in its butt
Its butt.
walks to the very center of the glass and jumps up and down.
Oh, I think you
I
stand
go
on
and
it point
stand
your
and I
hands
point
towards
with
it.
my hands.
Nothing seems to happen.
No.
That was a good idea, though.
It
Is
was,
there
yeah.
any kind of a winding mechanism?
Wind and unwind, spinning and stirring.
I think you gotta say it. Sing the song.
I'll sing the song. But I'm not a very good singer. Aaliyah's not a very good singer.
Well,
You
you
can
can
just
just
say
say
it.
that you sing it, but you could rap it.
Yeah.
But we'll just pretend that
You could just read it and say I sing this, and that's fine.
So tempting to do a really bad white girl rap right now, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm standing in the middle. I'm going to see if I can get the Tinkerling to put their hands to point at the right numbers, and I'm going to say space and time, wind, unwind, spinning and stirring, incomplete until you find hands that point, gears are whirring, can't get out without time.
You wait, and nothing seems to happen. I'm wondering if at this point y'all would do a reinvestigation of the what you're dealing with. Go ahead and roll me some investigation checks. Whoever's going to check that out.
Oh. try to help out with my fancy new dice.
19.
18.
Okay. Anybody else helping investigate?
Oh, I always figure like we probably shouldn't do like everybody doing a roll. The whole like.
But we need to
I
find something
know
to
that-
wind and unwind.
I know that some GMs don't do that, though. You can only roll if you're proficient or whatever. Whoever wants to be involved, I'm happy to involve. So
Okay. Because like at this point we have 4 chances to get a high roll instead of just rolling at advantage. But I'll take it. 19.
okay. What you discover and okay, so Aaliyah, you're gonna discover that by the 3, at the 3 position, a very slim sliver of metal that's maybe an inch across, but not even like a centimeter tall, has slid out where the 3 is positioned. And Winnie, you discover the same piece of metal by the 5, and you may, at the 12 position, you're gonna find a depression, like a round,
Like a button?
depression. If you try to press it, it's solid. There's no give there.
Does this depression seem like the absence of the things that the other 2 just found?
No, it's round, and they found like straight, thin pieces of metal sticking out.
Can we use the depression to push or pull around in a circle?
Yeah, when you try that, it doesn't seem to move.
Is there is there a thin slot for me to insert my piece of metal in so that it would attach to the centerpiece? Do you know what I mean?
I don't.
So, I've found this piece of metal on the edge of the
Oh yeah,
metal
yeah.
band,
Yeah, you found-
and then is there a corresponding hole for me to push it into the mechanism?
Yes, yes. You can try that.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and push it in, hoping that it'll catch
When
on the central.
when you push it in, actually, you don't see anything through the glass. The
Okay.
metal ring that you're dealing with is probably about 4 inches wide.
Okay.
And the sliver is only poked out about maybe a quarter of an inch. And so when you push that in, the mechanism starts to move again, and it rotates back around so the 3 is at the slot, and it spits the 3 out.
I don't think that's what we wanted it to do.
I mean, we got the hand in there.
No, there is no hand in there.
No.
No.
So it's almost like we have to start over
When
now.
you pushed the sliver, it activated a mechanism to spit out
return.
Yeah.
Eject. the
Can
cog.
I put the 3 back in?
It spits it back out.
Oh,
So we
no.
might have to do the 5 and then do the 3 and then the 5 again.
Yep, let's try that. Or did we break it forever?
Okay, so
Yeah.
you push the sliver on
That's
the 5.
the end of Broken Bane.
Yes.
They die in this room.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so you push the sliver on the 5 and it rotates and spits the 5 out and then resets. There are no longer any slivers and there's no longer a depression.
We put the 3 in.
So you
And
put the
the
3 in,
5.
it rotates, and it rotates back to the 3 position, and you'll notice a sliver appears. You put the 5 in, rotates to the 5 position, a sliver appears, and the depression appears. Nothing new happens.
We need something to wind up this clock. I think that's what this depression is for.
And do either of
Does
the
a clock
tools
have 2
fit?
numbers?
Oh. Do we need to put all the
Well,
cogs
I mean,
in?
if it... But in what order?
I'm
Yeah,
making a
it
sassy
didn't
face.
like number 2.
Yeah, why would it take?
What about 7?
3
Let's put
and not
7 in.
2?
You
You
want to
said
put
that there's
the
a
7 in?
depression at 12, though. So maybe the depression is telling us what needs to go next.
I mean, I've got that ridiculous pattern from before, but it's lots of repetitive numbers in it.
Let's try 12, because that's where the depression is.
So
Okay.
it rotates around, takes the 12, and then rotates back into that position. The 12 now has a sliver underneath where the depression is.
Okay.
But the depression is still on the 12.
Yes, just like below the sliver.
Why doesn't it like the 2?
All right, so we got 12 down. So, okay, so we've got 3, 5, and 12 are checked
I'm gonna
off.
try the 9.
It spits it back out. Yeah, so as you're doing this, Jason's friends are all sort of gathered around. And Chrysalis says, you know, I really wondered what that was. And I thought about the gears that we left on the platform outside, but there weren't enough of them. But y'all have 12. This does really seem to be a clock. What if we tried to put the numbers in order?
Like, put 1 in next?
No, like
Take them all
take
out
them
and
all
start
out.
with 1.
Start with 1. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, let's do
It
that.
makes sense that it would have all of them in there. The only reason I didn't
And then
think,
we need
bring
to
that
do
up sooner
320.
is that, like, I thought it took 3 right away, so I thought there was some, like, some good to that. Like, we don't need to start with 1. It took 3.
When
And
when,
My
not 2.
bad.
when you
Let's
say when you say
Start
that
at 1.
when you say that Chrysalis says, yeah, it seems to it'll take the number, and then if you give it a higher number, it'll take that. But if you give it a number, like you put in 3, right? But you tried to put in 2, but that's above the 3. You put in 5, right? And then you tried to put in 2, that's above the 3. You put in 12, and then you tried to put in another number, and none of those work. So maybe it needs to
makes
go in
sense.
order.
Dang.
Trixie. Okay, cool. So we're gonna push the little things to get the cogs out, and then we're gonna try putting it in 1 through 12.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you get all the cogs out. That seems to work fine. You put in the 1, it slides around, and as you're putting in the gears, it takes every single gear you give it. It slides. The mechanism always finishes, right? So you put in the 1. It's like one of those old telephones where you had to like pull the
Rotary
number all the
phone?
way around before you could get the next one. But by the end, you've got the you've got all the gears in there. 1 through 12. 12 is in the noon position. 6 is in the 6th position, just like a clock. And the depression that was above the 12 has now. So it was a circle and a depression, and it seems to have like opened up into sort of a star pattern. And you realize one of the tools that you have is comes to a point in that star pattern.
Like a crank?
Yeah, you realize if you stick it in there, it does seem to work like a crank. Are you going to stick it in there?
Mm-hmm.
When you put the
Okay.
tool into that spot, in the very center, if anyone was standing on the glass and like looking down the center, there was a hole there, and you can see the tiniest piece of light, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it seems to shoot up into the glass and splash out. And then when when your eyes can focus again, you realize there are 2 hands made out of light, and they're both pointing up towards the 12. One is longer than the other.
I am going to turn clockwise until it gets to 325.
So, yep. So you do this. It gets to 325, and I have a question. We're getting close. We're really close to when we normally end for the evening. Do you want me to end now, or can you give me another half hour?
I can do
think
another half hour.
The people in the later time zone should get the
Yeah.
deciding vote
They
on
have
that.
the deciding vote.
I can do another half hour.
Well, if everybody else is doing
No,
it.
do not feel pressured. If you
No
can't
pressure.
do another half hour, tell us.
No, of course. Of course.
Okay. As soon as it hits 325, the light hands seem to pulse, and then the entire mechanism starts sliding down what appears to be a shaft, and the glass starts to turn where the tool is, starts to turn clockwise, and the room sort of shakes a little bit, and the glass very slowly starts to rise up out of the ground, the same way almost at the same speed that the clock mechanism is sinking down, and Chrysalis says, "Oh, we have to get on that." And she jumps on the glass and she points up, and you realize that an opening has appeared immediately above the glass.
What are the Tinkerlings doing?
The two with you pile onto the glass with Chrysalis.
On I go.
What's everybody else doing?
Didn't they ask us for metal from the village?
They asked you for tools. They said, we don't know how to fix these. If you can find any tools that seem to fix these, can you please bring them back?
How
I mean, we're
appropriate.
bringing the Tinkerlings, but I want to grab a couple of the tools from the room.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Only if there's extras.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you only seemed to find 3 of them, one of which seemed to control the clock.
Yeah, we'll leave the star screwdriver and take the other 2.
Okay.
Are we stealing employees from their place of employment to go work at our factory?
They seem enthusiastic to go.
Okay.
We can bring them back. Maybe.
You just punt them into the opening. Okay, so you all jump onto the glass. It is a weirdly comfortable fit. It's not like the glass has gotten any bigger. It's not like your party is any fewer than, I think there's 9 of you, and a dog, and a bucket, and 7 Tinkerlings. But you all seem to be standing, I mean, you're close together, right? You know, you're maybe this, you're not shoulder to shoulder, you're close, but you're not, you should be spilling off the platform. 9 of you and a dog should not fit on this platform, but you seem to be fine. The glass gets all the way up to the ceiling, and there's a very dark, sort of vertical tunnel, and the glass fits right in it. So once the glass reaches that opening, there's no longer any edges. And it just seems to keep going up into the darkness, and those of you with dark vision can see that it seems to be sort of an endless shaft. Does anybody want to do anything?
Hold on tight.
I think I'm just kind of. It's probably too dark to see, but I'm just like trying to keep track of
Yeah.
Jason and his friends and
I think-
make sure that they're okay.
I think Jason and his friends are all like holding on to each other. Like, we're not doing this again.
I'm gonna have my hand on Jason's shoulder.
So I don't know if any of you have ever traveled in like a very, very long dark tunnel, but it can be very disorienting on like how long you're in that tunnel. So none of you can really say how long it is until you start to see some light. And the glass gets all the way up to the surface, and as it starts to get to the surface and you can see over, you realize you're coming out on the side of a cliff. You think you're still in the mountains that you entered, and there just appears to be a boulder kind of next to you. The glass gets all the way to the top, and then it starts to spin counterclockwise and start lowering. And Jason and all of his friends leap off of it and like back away and are like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
It's going
with
back
them.
down.
Yeah.
I begrudgingly get off and take Bucket and all of the little ones with us.
Yep. So they all come with you.
Do we have
Sorry to
everything
be
that we need?
suspicious, but in this split moment, is there anything we can glean about the environment that we're seeing where we jump off?
So
Where we would jump off?
you're at sort of a rough spot on the side of like a, I wouldn't call it a mountain, but a very tall hill. And when the glass gets about 6 feet down into that hole, the boulder actually stands up on a bunch of little metal legs and walks over and covers the hole and then sinks back down. And it just appears to be a chunk of rock sticking out of the side of this hill. You're not on a platform per se. It's just sort of a rough spot, you know. And the to get down to the rest of the ground is not like rock climbing, but it's kind of a sort of a slide run thing. And so Jason and his friends have already started doing that. And Caleb is pointing off to the right, and you realize that you can just barely see the opening that you went through when you first entered these caverns.
Battle's deeply disturbed by the crab spider rock and goes down the hill quickly.
This boulder was like, it was taller than you, and the legs that appeared were like an inch tall and made out of the same metal that the Tinkerlings are made out of, and spaced maybe like 2 or 3 inches apart. So there were like maybe 100 of them, and it made like little skittering noises. It is as creepy as you think it is.
Yeah. Nope. I'm gonna kind of like herd everybody down the hill.
When you all get down to the bottom of the hill, if you look back up at where you were, you can't tell quite where you came out. It's just all the side of a hill.
I'm gonna ask the Tinkerlings if their leader is near here.
They all seem to like cluster together, and then the leader, for lack of a better word, blinks no.
Okay.
What if their leader is back at the town and is in the factory? Has already been captured a long time ago. It's one of the looms.
It's like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we safely say you go back to town?
If we can figure out where we are in relation to town, if we're not hopelessly lost.
No, you're not hopelessly lost. Caleb, the way Caleb was pointing to the right shows you the opening that you entered in at the beginning of this whole madness.
Oh, okay.
And as you head in that direction, as soon as you get near that, you see the road you came in on. You realize
Okay,
it's the sun appears to just be rising.
If I was asking suspicious questions, I'm like, oh no, I gotta check. Are we like in a completely different place or even different time? Maybe we shouldn't jump off here. Maybe we need to return somehow. But it seems things seem on the level for now, so we can head back in.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of regret not writing it back down, but I didn't want to go back in those caves.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we figured out how to get out, but I don't think there was anything left for us there.
Okay, so you head back to town, and you realize that it is really early in the morning. Like, you're just seeing people starting to get up, like bakers and things. You head back to the inn that you were staying in, and the lady that runs it, whose name I've entirely forgotten, bustles out when she hears you enter, and she says, "Wow, you came back and so quickly. Did you find anything?" And Jason pushes through, and she screeches and is like, "Oh, Jason!" And there's sort of a hullabaloo. She shoves all of you into a booth, and is like, "I'll get you some coffee. Stay right here." And you realize like she's running around, and she shoves Jason and all of his friends into a booth, and she starts she wakes somebody up and is like, "Go get the mayor," and then the mayor shows up, and like a bunch of people pile in, and like it seems to be the families of all of these, and they're over the moon because they've never had people come back in like a sane state, and these individuals appear to be fine. Like they're like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah. Do you have any strange stories? I mean, I've got strange stories, but like we're okay, you know." And they're like patting them down, and the doctor comes in, and the doctor's checking them all over, and the whole thing. And the mayor finally comes over to your table and is like, "I can never thank you enough. You brought my son back to me." And he's really choked up, but I don't want to do that right now because I think I'll start crying in real life. So, but he's really choked up, and he seems to have like a lot of feelings. And he says, I can never ever repay you. Is there anything I can give you in return?" And he's quite overwhelmed.
Some
And,
things that she would like in return, but she's going to wait to approach them separately about it.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. We're just happy to help. Glad everybody's safe.
And yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask about like the origin story of the looms, but maybe now's not the time.
It's up to you.
I'm going to say something like that. I'm going to say like, well, I'd really like to know how this all started with the looms, but I realize now might not be the time.
And he says, "Oh, of course, we do have a town historian, and I'm sure she'd be happy to meet you." And he says, "Of course, we asked you to go in and find tools for the looms. Did you happen to find any of those?"
We found some. Excuse me. We found some tools and also some helpful little friends. And I imagine all the little, what are they called? Tinkerlings. Like
Yeah.
pop out, like just around from people's feet and shoulders and stuff.
And he's like, "Oh, okay, well,
These things repair the looms.
oh,
Preferably all 7 of them pop out from behind Battle, but I won't impose that.
We saw looms in the cave, or tunnels, or whatever, that were kind of alive and somewhat sentient, and actually really, really big, like 2 stories tall. And
his eyes get really big."
yeah, the ones that you have seem to be kind of folded up versions of those. So we're wondering if perhaps something was done to yours to de-animate them.
And he says, "Wow, that's a. I wonder. I really think we should consult with the town historian." And he says, "You're telling me that these things are alive? Our looms are alive?
They might
Or they
still
were.
be alive.
They've never moved or anything. You say that the ones in the caves were unfolded, like they 2-story. That and he almost seems to be doubting you, but Jason ducks in and he's like, "Father, what they're saying is true. I have seen it." And his father looks at him, and Jason goes, "Remember, everybody that's come out and has had fantastical stories has never agreed on anything. But me and my friends will agree. We saw Loom Beasts. You have to believe us. And they look just like our looms, Pop. They're just folded up. I swear these little guys were fixing one of them. Let's go try it." And the mayor's like, "Well, and his son's like, "Come on, Dad." And he
need
tried.
your looms fixed, and these little guys can fix them.
Battle doesn't trust this guy at all. Like, at all. And she doesn't believe that he doesn't know they're alive.
Okay.
Battle? Suspicious?
No.
Winnie is also giving him the side eye.
So he'll lead you over, and everybody follows you, and it seems to feel like a carnival, and everybody's waking up and coming out, and "Oh, it's happening! Oh my God, Jason!" and blah blah blah. So you get over to a warehouse, and whoever runs the warehouse is puffing and puffing up, and is like, "Of course, Mayor," and lets everybody in. And as soon as the door opens, the Tinkerlings immediately abandon all humans and zip over to a loom, and they start crawling all over it, and then they eventually. They all hit 7 different points and sort of hum, and then they congregate on one of the points, and they're sort of going back and forth and going back and forth. And then the one that seems to be leading the party makes like a high-pitched click noise, and 2 of them run away. And they seem to scurry up and over the Loom Beast and out, and then the 5 remaining ones sort of hunch on the Loom Beasts as if they're waiting.
Oh, you're so cute. I think maybe we need to do something with the tools now. Or are these the ones we can speak to these ones, right? They're the ones who
Yeah,
give us
they
signals?
do the yes, no. Yeah.
I have 2 questions. Do we need the tools now?
The one that's
what we're holding.
doing a lot of the talking blinks no.
Do you want us to heal them like before?
They seem to talk to each other, and the one blinks no. But it's sort of a apologetic no.
Is there anything
no
else that
thank you.
needs to be done?
And yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask the Tinkerlings, can these ones be helped?
And they all
are they? And basically, are they dead? Right?
they all bob around and blink yes. And actually, 3 of them The leader sort of nudges another one, and 3 of them jump off and start looking at the other looms in the room. And they like, whenever they find like a point that you assume means they need to be repaired, they make that hum noise. And sometimes another one will come over and kind of look at it, hum as well. So they crawl all over the other looms as you guys are talking about this.
Maybe you just have to wait.
Are you able to fix them?
They all blink yes. Yes.
Do you need our help, or can...
They all blink no.
Do you... Okay.
So the mayor is...
happy...
Go ahead.
Are you happy to stay here?
They all blink yes.
Mr. Mayor, I think we've solved your problem.
The mayor is looking very dubious. And he's like, what are these supposed to do? And Chrysalis is sort of looking at, like, watching their behavior, and she says, I wonder if they need more of them. I wonder if that's what the other 2 went off to do, is to get more of them. And the leader, Tinkerling, blinks yes.
Oh, they're going to go get friends?
The leader blinks yes.
Looks like you've got a repair crew moving in.
And the mayor's like, but are they gonna, like, stand up? We don't have room for that in here.
You should make room for them and be grateful that they're doing a service for your town. You've been using them for a long time.
He sort of looks at you sort of stricken, and he says, I've never thought of them as alive. You must understand, none of us have ever thought they were alive. And everybody's like, no, of course, what are you talking about, alive? And he's like, if what you're saying is true, they are truly alive, then of course we'll do anything we can for them. You have to understand that this is so strange for us. We haven't seen what you've seen, and that I'm sure
it was surprising when you realized that these looms were magic years and years ago. That must have been an adjustment, and it's just going to be another adjustment.
And the mayor was like, well, we don't, like, that's just always been true, right? Like, the cloth that they make just seems to be better, stronger. And they sort of run themselves in a lot of ways, and that seemed sort of magical. But it was different. You realize that was just how things were, and this is very different. So Jason is like, Father, I think we should leave the Tinkerlings to their work. Let's leave this warehouse closed for the day. And the mayor's like, all right. And the warehouse leader's like, I'm gonna stay and, make sure they don't dismantle them, and everybody kind of clears out. And the mayor says, I guess we'll give them some time to see what the little guys can do, and you're more than welcome to stay in the inn for as long as you'd like. And he just sort of seems and he says, I'm sorry, I'm going to excuse myself so I can go. I'll send the historian to you. He just seems like he needs, like, a moment to himself. Jason and whatever his brother's name was go with him. And y'all are left alone. Not alone. I mean, a lot of people have flooded into the common room at this point, but you're at your own table again. And I think if you're okay with it, let's leave it here. I'll capture some questions y'all have for next time. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So stream, we are going to do learned. So the players are going to tell me what they learned this evening, and then we will do role-playing moments. So I accept role-playing moments from chat. If there was any point tonight that you were like, heck, that was cool, and you want to nominate that, go ahead and put that in chat, and I'll include it. And then the players will vote on which one they would like to give a role-playing point to. And that gives a player the ability to re-roll a d20 in the next session. Okay. What did y'all learn this evening?
So many things.
Talk slow.
Jason's friends are alive.
Jason's friends are alive. Yep.
And they
We
are now
returned
home
everybody
safe and
home.
sound. Yes.
Mm-hmm. We solved the what the heck is in there, because we know what's in there. shifting hallways.
Can
and
you be more specific?
Yep. We discovered the secrets of the cavern.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
And whoever's
Ooh.
behind it takes notes in Celestial.
Mm-hmm.
And it's likely that it's been there for a long time because of the signs that we've seen in there. But the mayor is flabbergasted by the fact that the looms might have some sentience.
The fact that the looms have some sort of sentience, and that
Yes.
they can be healed by magic.
And tiny bots.
And that they don't, if they don't think you're a threat, they don't attack you.
And we learned that the bulb bots are called Tinkerlings.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a very cute name.
It is very cute. I like them a lot.
I'm still curious about the threads and the
Yeah, we never
way
figured
that
out where that came from.
the threads, the way that they were healed. Yeah.
Well, or where the threads in the walls came from. Like, what is their
Oh,
fabric
yeah,
actually
yeah.
made of?
Yeah.
Magic.
Oh ho ho, it's magic.
Anything else you want to write down for learned? Or are you ready for RP points?
I'm good. I thought
Did
about
we-
like the puzzle, but I don't really know how to condense that. It's just like we did a puzzle, we found the way out.
Solved.
That's not
Puzzle.
special.
Did we
Got
write
rid
down,
of the cogs.
Did we write down the sketchy behavior of the mayor?
I wrote down that he was flabbergasted by the loons having sentience and healed by magic, but I can write suspicious next to that.
Sus.
Sus.
I don't feel so suspicious of him anymore at the end. Like, he's definitely overwhelmed, but I don't think he's.
I feel like Battle has both lost respect for him and is more suspicious of him as a result of his, like, but this is the way things have always been. It's like, cool, but the world changes and you need to respect things when you find out that they have life. Battle's not pleased.
He said he would do that.
Only after she poked him about it.
He was over. Okay, if I
I think he
came
just
to
needs some
you
time
and
to
I
think
said,
about
by
it,
the
yeah.
way, the house that you live in has a brain and you've been mean to it and now I'm going to repair it, it's going to have feelings, how would you respond to that?
I would apologize to the house.
Well, give him a minute, you know. His
Maybe he would
son
take a nap
just
first.
came back. There's a lot going on and some people need time to process things. You know this.
Oh, Sarah knows this very
Battle
well.
does
Sarah,
not. Battle has
no.
opinions. Got it.
correct. And Battle gets mad when people mistreat creatures and beasts.
That's fair. Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah. And as a former mortician, she's like, respect life. So everything has dignity.
All right. What good role playing moments happened this evening for y'all?
Winnie helping Jason.
Yeah, that was good.
I had that written as Winnie leveling with Jason to reassure him when we proceed.
Trying to reassure him.
Got it. What else we got?
Battle getting playful with Bucket and the Tinkerlings.
I like that it was reluctant. Like, reluctantly playful. What else?
I really liked Aaliyah kind of interacting with the Tinkerlings as well, and like having one on her boot and constantly checking for their reactions to things and kind of using them as guides.
Very analytical mind there. Yeah. What else?
You may be pleased with her celestial studies of times past.
Yeah, I liked that. What else?
I think that's good.
Okay. Vote away, my friends. I didn't see any from chat, which is fine. I think we lost a bunch of viewers right before we did the learned and RP point, which is also fine. Bless you.
Very tail end of bronchitis. Apologies.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Hope you're feeling
It's
better
okay.
soon.
Sinus infection and
No, you just had it
bronchitis
all
from.
and you moved? Oh my goodness. You're
Well,
just having.
there was mold in my old place, so
Ah,
that spurred everything
Of
forward.
course,
But now I'm
yeah.
feeling better.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
When I moved away from Minnesota, that got a lot better for me.
Do you
Oh,
guys-
everyone
Do you guys do this
spread
on
those
purpose?
points out.
You did that on purpose.
I didn't, I promise.
You all
Now
did
you
that
have to
on purpose.
pick.
No, I don't. You all get one. It's a tie. With ties, I always give it to whoever tied. So you all have an RP point for next time.
Yes, that feels ceremonial to the end
Yeah,
of
it's
a
the end of
campaign.
yeah.
Unless we let Dash decide.
Nope.
Who's Dash?
This
Dash
is my
was
decision.
viewing some.
Nope.
All right.
This is how I resolve ties. Sorry, Dash. Okay, so what we'll do next time is we can do as quick or as long of a wrap up as you want, right? You can either stay and find out what the Tinkerlings have done or run away. At the end of each of our arcs, stream, we sit down as a group and we talk about what we want for the next arc, whether we want to switch systems or characters or whatever, because we that's one of the things we like to do together is check in with each other. I'll review session 0 notes with them. We may do all that offline. We may do it online. I'm not quite sure yet. But yeah, this is a good, for those of you that are following along to see how to run a game, this is a good moment at the end of an arc to check in with your players and see if they're still having fun and what they want to see next and blah, blah, blah. So, I think we will share if there's anything any of us are up to that you'd like to share over the next week or so, and then we'll say goodnight. Is there anything anybody would like to share?
Oh, you go first.
You are muted, my
Oh.
friend.
Sorry, I'm doing the keynote speech at the end of the Evil Geniuses Press Forward Health and Wellness event.
Nice. That's really
That's it.
awesome. Congratulations on
Yeah.
that. That's gonna be cool.
Thanks.
When is that?
excited.
And is it
Saturday.
Open? Is it open to the
Yes. Yes. I will post a link in the Twitch and or Discord.
public? Yeah, I'll try and put it in Discord so I can tweet about it as well.
It's online is coming up,
Yes, it is.
and there will be a panel about autistic GMs
Yep.
that I will be on with Spoon
Yep.
and
That's
other
gonna
things, I'm
be-
sure.
That's going to be on Thursday, the 15th at, I think, 8:45 Mountain Standard Time. I think it's 6:45 Eastern Time. I don't entirely remember, but the PAX Online schedule is up. I have to say it's one of my favorite panels I've ever done. No offense to any other panels I've ever done, but it was really nice to sit with a bunch of other autistics and talk about being a GM. We had a spread too. There we had different periods of diagnoses and different lengths of time for GMing as well. So it was a really interesting panel. I would highly encourage you to check it out. Other things that people are up to.
The only thing I would add is if anyone is watching and could go and visit Autistic Science Person's Twitter page and just read about some action that you can take. Really simple action. You can also go to resist.bot, B-O-T, /petitions and click on Stop the Shock. I just encourage you all to click on that hashtag on Twitter, please. Take some action. It's not getting enough attention and traction. It needs more attention in the press, and it needs more noise being made about it.
Yeah,
That's all I'll say without getting depressed.
I 100% support that. And if anybody has any questions about this, you're more than welcome to reach out to me online. We will point you at the resources. And if Virginia is also willing to be reached out to,
Yep.
then you can reach out to either of us, and we're happy to have a calm discussion about it if you have questions. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share? All right, then I think we will say good night, stream, and we will see you soon. Bye,
Good night,
stream.
stream.